thanks so much for joining us today at an earlier time for one of our sports talks. We are so excited to see everyone today. Hope everybody had a great weekend and appreciate your time. So today we are so lucky once again to be have this great opportunity from the WTA to talk with one of the best tennis players in the world, with our Special Olympics athletes. So it is such a pleasure to welcome Tamira Paszek and RJ Nealon. So RJ, why don't you introduce yourself for everybody?
Okay, so I'm RJ Nealon. I've been a Special Olympics Maryland athlete for a number of years. I recently just graduated from the University of Alabama with a degree in sports journalism, and I interned for ESPN last summer.
Nice.
Oh, congrats.
And RJ, what sports did you do, RJ, when you were playing with us, or do you still do?
So I have tried a number of sports, but my main sports were basketball and swimming.
Right, nice.
But I've tried like kayaking and cycling and tennis and like a lot of sports.
Yeah. And you've interviewed so many tennis players so this summer that's going to be the next sport that you try, right?
Yeah, well, I played tennis as a kid. I took lessons and stuff, but never like competitively.
Awesome. And then, as I said, we are so fortunate to be joined by Tamira Paszek. So Tamira, why don't, before we hand it over to RJ to ask you some questions, why don't you introduce yourself to our panel of Special Olympics athletes?
Well, first of all, I'm really happy to be here today and to see all of you. Well, I'm off it. I haven't played for 3.5 years, so I'm working on my comeback, finally healthy again, and looking forward to getting back on the WTA tour.
Nice, thanks. So RJ, why don't you take it away?
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us, Tamira, for another episode of Sports Talk with Special Olympics Maryland. How are you doing today?
Thanks for having me, RJ. I'm doing great, actually. It's been a rainy day back home in Austria, so weather's cooled down quite a bit, but I'm doing quite fine.
Yeah, so thank you again. I know the time zones are different, so it means a lot. Before we get started, you started playing tennis at the age of 4. Can you share a story of one of your earliest memories playing the sport?
So the earliest memory actually being on a tennis court was when I joined my mom. She's like fanatic. She loves tennis, so she's always played, and I joined her. Watching her play, eating French fries, that was my first memory of tennis, so quite a good one. Before I then decided to try the sports, and I fell in love with it immediately.
So right now, a lot of things are going on in Wood. We're socially distancing. How has that affected, your training? You just mentioned that you're getting ready for a comeback. So how has that affected your training and how you prepare for the comeback?
So in terms of competition, for me, it wasn't a big change because I wasn't actually competing at the time of the lockdown. It actually gave me a bit more time to, take care of my body and getting healthy, and to slowly get back into training and make a baby step day by day to go in the right direction.
So as athletes, it takes a physical toll on your body, but how has it affected you mentally? How's, being socially distanced and stuff like affected your mental toughness?
I think it's changed my views on a few things, just to appreciate the little things in life, like being at home with my family, which I was really fortunate to be at home, seeing my mom and my brother, and just being able to be in an environment where I feel comfortable. And I actually enjoyed the quietness. So it was a different pace of life, which I think, we all needed that little break, but definitely looking forward into getting back to normality of life.
Have you picked up any new hobbies or hidden talents that you didn't think you had?
So my dad's a bakery and pastry chef and a chocolatier, and I really got into cooking and baking a bit, which I'm quite proud of myself. I made a cheesecake the other day and some traditional Austrian dishes, which, yeah, I would say that's a new hobby of mine, spending more time in the kitchen.
Yeah, I just tried to cook my first set of eggs yesterday, sunny side up, and it did not.
And those are difficult to make. I always
Yeah.
mess it up.
Yeah, I was watching a video of Gordon Ramsay, and I just completely messed it up. So you've played in Grand Slams, and you've beaten some of the top players in the world. What's that experience like playing at that type of level, especially Wimbledon?
I think that's what we all practice for, that one moment when you walk out there in front of a huge crowd in a big stadium court, and just that feeling of when you get those goosebumps. I don't know, when you hit a certain shot or you hear the people clap. That's something I've definitely missed during being injured. And yeah, Wimbledon for me has been a special experience ever since I played the juniors, because I had good memories. I played the junior final there. So that kind of transformed into playing on the pro tour on the women's circuit. And yeah, obviously I had my best result there in terms of playing the Grand Slams. So that makes it extra special.
Of the Grand Slams you've played in, which one is your favorite, or is there too many?
In terms, as you mentioned, the tradition, I think Wimbledon is definitely my favorite. But on the other side, all other three slams have something special on their own. So that's a hard one to pick.
Yeah, I know for me as a sports journalist, Wimbledon is on my bucket list to cover in person. So I'm working towards
Hope
that.
I'll meet you there one day.
Yes, absolutely. I hope so. So
One of my goals to be back there again. So we both have a similar goal of getting back to Wimbledon.
Hey, maybe I'll be covering it when you win.
Imagine, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, yes. So we've asked every guest this so far. When it comes to pre-match rituals, or like the type of music you listen to get in the mindset, what is one thing that you do that, is special to you when you prepare for a match?
So I do usually have a playlist that kind of gets me going, gets me in the flow. I've had a similar warm-up routine for probably, half my career, I'd say, ever since I started playing on the pro circuit. That's pretty much it. Other than that, I'm not really superstitious, so it can be something different from one day to the other as well. But I try to have a good meal before I play, get some rest in, get my mind in the right place, and just have that calm state of mind, but also a good emotion and good motivation to be ready to go out there, to have that hunger and will feeling to go out there and fight.
What type of music is on your playlist? What's your favorite song you like to listen to?
Wow, one of my favorite songs at the moment. That's a good one. Probably Rockstar from Da Baby.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that song?
Oh, yes, I love the Baby.
It's all over the radio. So that's my favorite song at the moment. But I usually listen to all sorts of music, like especially pop, new hits, and yeah.
So before we open it up to Special Olympic athletes to ask you questions, I want to ask a question. If you could go back to 2005 when you started your pro career, what's one piece of advice you'd ask your younger self?
To have the mindset I have now, which would be impossible because I know we have to grow up, experience life the way we do, and just make our own memories. But definitely being off tour for a few years now, I did change some patterns of my thoughts, which I'm at a very calm state, I'd say, and in a good place. So that would definitely help to start a career, know that sports doesn't really have a long duration, so to use every chance that you get would have been a helpful advice, even though my mom kept telling me. But you know how it is when you're like 15, 16, you're like, I have such a long career. But yeah, use the chances and never stop believing in yourself.
And what's your favorite country you visited and played in?
Wow, that's a good one. I mean, each and every country is special on its own, just starting from the culture, the landscape, the food, the people, tradition. But one of my favorite tournaments that I played the final in was in Bali, Indonesia. But it was a stunning hotel as well, so it was kind of a holiday scenery. So I think that's why I played so well, because I was very relaxed and I enjoyed the sun.
So do you think certain countries and the atmosphere and the scenery actually plays a factor in how you mentally prepare and get ready to play a match?
For many players, it does, and especially me, I'm a very emotional person, so I like to feel comfortable when I'm at a place, and I hate to say goodbye when I leave home. I love my family and my friends, so for me, traveling was never the easiest. That's why when I later on during my career, when I had some friends at different places and different countries in the world, it definitely helped to, yeah, to feel comfortable and play even better.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think this is a perfect time to open it up for other Special Olympic athletes and viewers to ask you questions.
By the way, one more question. You're a McGregor fan?
Yes, kind of.
My physical coach just met him last week while they were in Monaco.
That's so awesome.
Was
Yeah.
there preparing for his fight. So I just saw the poster in the background. That's cool.
Yes, I love Conor McGregor. I'm a big sports collector, so I have posters all around the room.
Nice. That's great.
All right. So for any of the Special Olympics athletes or other viewers that we have, feel free to type your question into the chat and we will ask it. Or if you want to raise your hand either on Zoom or hold it up to the camera so I can see you, I will unmute your line and you can ask Tamira a question. All right. So I see Miss Kristen from Texas. Kristen, I'm going to unmute your line. All right. Go ahead and ask your question, Kristen.
Well, I played in many places. What places would most be interesting?
For me to play at?
No.
No?
You played in many places. What places would most be interesting?
Okay, so my favorite place was Bali, as I mentioned before, because of the nice weather and lovely tradition of the country, but I also love being in the
What
US.
interesting place you like?
Interesting in terms of?
Unusual.
Unusual.
Yes.
Unusual. That's an interesting question. No one has ever asked me that.
Yes.
Unusual places.
Yeah, I know.
I have to think about that one. That's not easy. Whew. Well, the unusual, although it's very special, the unusual atmosphere is actually playing at home, because you're so familiar with everything that it's kind of a weird feeling, because you have that maybe once a year, that it's probably the most unusual place, even though it is the most known. Yeah. Other than that, I think all other countries were not that unusual.
Cool. Good one. All right. Willie typed a question in.
Question, though, to be fair, was a really good one.
That's a good question, Kristen. And Kristen's joining us all the way from Texas. So that's pretty cool. Willie wants to know, and I think he might be a little biased, and you might be a little biased, but why is tennis the most important sport? That's what Willie is wondering.
For me, he means, or in general.
Yeah, why do you think tennis is the most important sport?
Wow. Well, for me, tennis is the most important sport because as a kid, I already realized that I really love to play tennis. Like for me, I spend every day on court. I spend the weekends there. My mom or my parents in general, they couldn't get me off the court. So yeah, I quickly felt that for me, this is the most awesome sports. Whatever other sports I tried, it didn't give me that feeling in my body. So I stuck to tennis.
Cool, thanks. All right, Joe, we will unmute you. Joe, we're coming to you, okay? All right, hang on 1 second.
Yeah, okay, got it, man. Okay,
There you
got
go.
you. Some question asked her, are you like to play Wimbledon?
I love Wimbledon.
A lot. I watch Wimbledon all the time.
Really?
A lot of good player there.
Yes, I played there twice in the quarterfinals in 2011 and 12.
I saw you.
You saw me? No way.
Yeah.
Which
In-
match did you see?
One. I think one match.
Okay,
Okay.
nice.
Yeah. Also, you come from Austria, right?
Have you been there?
We have a couple athletes went to the Special Olympics, won again there.
Really?
Yeah, we have the large Team USA delegation went to win again.
Yeah.
No way. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, you should involve a Special Olympics and the Austria tennis program there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is great.
Joe, why do you like Wimbledon so much?
because I like Wimbledon. I watch it since my high school time. Watch it all long time. The Wimbledon all the time.
Oh, okay.
Great. And who's your
Also-
favorite player?
John McEnroe.
John McEnroe.
Oh,
Yeah, he was
yeah.
awesome to watch.
Yeah, it's my favorite player.
There were always a lot of emotions involved when he was playing.
Yeah, he got angry with pressure all the time. So tennis racket on the floor. Said, no, I don't want to play. He argued with the referee.
He liked to argue, yes.
Yeah.
Great person, very, very great guy, and great tennis player as well.
We can
Cool.
come after Zoom meeting. Thanks.
Thank you
Cool,
for
thanks.
having me.
Yeah.
The pleasure is mine.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And Rachel, we will come to you next. So I will unmute your line. There you go, Rachel. You're unmuted.
So you can talk now.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Tamira. You come to the Special Olympic World to warm me up and cheer for me, please?
Oh.
I wish I would be there, but I'll cheer for you from afar. I'll be home and I'll be cheering for you, and all my thoughts will be with you, and I'll keep my fingers crossed.
Thank you.
And I'm
I
sure
want
you'll
to
do
you.
fantastic.
You never give up like me, Tamira.
That's something I'm very proud of you, that you never give up and that you always
Thank you.
fight for your dreams and believe in yourself. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, Tamira.
And you'll do great. I'm sure about that.
So from watching Rachel play tennis, Rachel has an awesome two-handed backhand. Tamira, what do you think your best shot is?
My two-handed backhand.
Yeah?
How funny. So we have the same favorite shot then.
Wow.
She's been watching your matches. She pulled them
Really?
up. Yes, she's been studying for a couple of days so that she would know who you were. And she is thinking that you two play a lot alike.
That's great. So you like the backhand down the line.
This year, my forehand got stronger than
Great.
my backhand now.
Really? You've been practicing a lot on the forehand?
Yeah, same as backhand, but I've been practicing both and now forehand stronger than backhand.
I know that feeling. All my coaches, they always wanted to improve my forehand, so they kept working on the forehand because the backhand was my favorite shot. And then at one point in practice, I was like, my forehand feels better than my backhand. Yeah, quite funny.
Sometimes feels weird, opposite.
Yeah.
That is weird, yeah.
It is.
But I'm sure if the backhand is your favorite shot, you'll never lose the feeling of that one.
I know.
Yeah. And I think more than any other tennis player in Special Olympics I've seen, Rachel does a great job. She really hugs the baseline, and she can take the ball off the rise like I've never seen before. And so
Oh, wow.
like
Wait,
she
I wish I really hope I'm gonna see you play someday.
Cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for your question, Rachel. Let us know if you have any more. All right, we have a question from Mason. How many hours a week do you practice?
How many hours a week I practice?
Yeah, you practice, yeah?
Wow. So I'd say, as I'm not the youngest anymore, things changed from a few years ago. And I do try to probably have like a longer session some days. And then some days I try to split it in two. So I'd say I practice around 2 to 3 hours a day just on the tennis court. And the rest is just physical training and maintenance work, recovery. So I learned to, due to my injuries, I learned to take care of my body quite a bit. So yeah, I do appreciate being healthy. So I try to not overdo it on the practice routine. So I'd say around 4.5 hours daily, including gym and tennis.
Nice. Thanks. Scott was wondering, what is the best advice that your coach has given you that you can share with us? We don't know if we have WTA scouts out here, so we don't want to play all your secrets, but what's the best piece of advice that you can share that your coach has given you?
So I had a few different coaches. One of them was my dad, actually. He's been a part of my career for a very long time, and probably the longest time in my professional career. But it's definitely to take the ball early, because I have an aggressive baseline game. So the moment I wait and I just keep playing cross courts, that's not my game. So I do need the encouragement to take the ball early and to open the court fast, like those little short angles cross court. That's probably the most helpful advice that a coach has given me on the tactics side.
Nice. Thank you. And
yeah, the other good one is to follow my instincts.
oh, okay. Both on
I have quite
like,
a good
on-
gut
off-
feeling, so I use my instincts, and I do play with the instincts, so that's important that I have someone encouraging and believing in that as well.
Nice. So I know a lot of our athletes are also coached by their moms and their dads. So
That's awesome.
what advice do you have, since you were coached by your dad? What advice do you have for being coached by a parent, or for our parents who are coaches coaching their children?
Well, I mean, we all know that it's not easy, to have a parent by your side nonstop. And I'm sure for the parents, it's not easy. I mean, my dad and me, we had a few little roller coaster rides here and there. But at the end of the day, you know that the parents want nothing but the best for you. And that's the biggest support you can get throughout their careers. So I think appreciate that is the first thing. And in terms of coaching wise, for me, it's always been that my dad has known me the best, because he spent so many years on tour with me. So he hasn't seen me in a long time. He came to one of my club matches just some weeks ago, and he was like, okay, Mimi is my nickname. So he was like, Mimi, here and there, I think you should take the ball a little early, and the core and the rotation is not quite there yet. So we got to work on that. So I think those little details, it's what the parents know the best, because yeah, they've seen it so many times. And I guess patience on both sides is quite important. One day more than the other, but patience and understanding, I guess, is
Cool.
what the key is.
Nice. All right. Daniel wants to know, what tournament has the best food?
So I do love Washington, as we've both discussed before. I'm a food lover in general, so I love to try different restaurants and go to the city and just try different things. We always have a house during Wimbledon in Southfields, in that area. So they have this great little Thai restaurant that's been my favorite restaurant throughout each and every year of Wimbledon, which we mixed it up with some Indian food, which was down the street as well. So yeah, I think those are my two favorite restaurants at my favorite event.
Nice.
Apart from Washington and the great
Yeah.
food there.
It's so good.
And the red velvet cupcakes in Washington and Georgetown were absolutely amazing. I do have a sweet tooth, so.
We know what to bring you to our WTA clinic next time we come.
Hey, perfect. I'm looking
I will
for. I'll be
have
on a diet before that, so I'm ready
dozens.
for all the cupcakes.
Good. All right. Rachel, I thought I saw your hand up. Do you have another question? Cool. Let me unmute you. Okay, there you go. Rachel.
Tamira, would
Yeah.
you like to come visit in Arkansas and play with me sometimes?
I wish I could. That would be one of my dreams. I haven't been there yet, so that would be awesome.
Okay.
If I'm ever in the area, I promise I'll come by. And then we'll hit some balls.
Cool. All right. And Kristen, you have another question. So let's
Do you like other sports besides tennis?
Oh.
I do. I actually love to swim, which I discovered that passion during my injury timeout. I love the feeling underwater, the quietness, and just, yeah, being isolated off the real world and just in your own bubble and getting a calm breathing routine. So I really love that. And apart from that, I love hiking as well. We have beautiful mountains in Austria, which is nice. I can, take my dog Paris along, and I spend some time with my family and friends as well. So it's a really sociable way of sports as well. And golf, a bit of golf here and there on the driving range. I'm horrible at it.
Do you
I'm
like
really
to
not good at it.
snorkel?
I do.
You like snorkeling, don't you?
I love snorkeling.
So do I.
You do?
Yes.
Have you seen some big fish?
Yes, I have.
Where?
I saw in Hawaii. I've been
In
there.
Hawaii.
Yep.
That's a dream of mine. I've never been
Australia?
there. Okay.
Okay.
Nice. Tamira,
That's awesome.
Rachel said that she likes to do yoga and meditation and was wondering if you do those as well.
I do. I actually had a yoga class last Thursday, which I really found it quite relaxing after a tough week of training. And yeah, I do practice mindfulness and meditation as well, because I think I'm a very, energetic person. And for me, the tougher part is to get my head and my mind to relax and to get in a calm state of mind at the end of the day, and also in the beginning of the day to have my thoughts collected. So I do use some terms or some variations of yoga and meditation, and I think it's a great way of getting into the zone and into the flow and ready for the day.
Nice, thanks. Here's a good question. Do you like to do you use the like a wall or a backboard when you're practicing? How often do you hit against a backboard?
Not as often anymore, but I used to spend hours and hours and hours there when I was a kid and growing up, and starting to play tennis. That's where I would warm up. That's where I'd end the day. We had a mini tennis net, so as kids we played this circle game that you had to run around that net after every ball that you hit, which was quite exhausting, but was a lot of fun as well. And I think you can really improve there as well, especially the volleys and the timing, the hand-eye coordination.
Nice. And Mason wanted you to know that she heard your nickname was Mimi and her nickname is May May. So very similar nicknames. Mason was very excited about that.
So May May is his nickname.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, she was pretty excited.
Mimi and May May. It's her nickname.
It's a doubles team. What a dream doubles team that is. So you said that Wimbledon is your favorite tournament. Is grass your favorite surface?
Surprisingly, it is. Since in Austria we do not really, I think we have one grass court somewhere, but
Wow.
It's hours away from home. So yeah, I grew up playing on clay, which is more of a slower kind of surface, but I always felt that my body just functions perfectly fine on grass, and I love the quick balls, and yeah, it suits my variation as well. I can use the slices, the drop shots, open the court. So I do enjoy that,
Nice.
that surface.
Cool. And then one question that I have, so our athletes in Special Olympics, we will play 2 sets with a tiebreaker if they split. And a lot of times we will see athletes win the first set, then drop the second set. What would be your advice for a tennis player to like regain momentum and take control of the match headed into that 3rd set tiebreaker?
So it's funny that you say that, because that happened during our club matches as well. We played the 3rd set as a champions tiebreak. So what I find that helps me quite a bit is my breathing routine, especially during each point and also at the change events, which obviously the change events has a bit of a longer routine. But I feel like using like a calm picture in my head, including the breathing, it gets me ready for the next point. Like no matter what happened the point before, or you missed a break point or 2 break points in a row, it kind of gets you ready for the next point, and your thoughts are collected. So you're easier at finding your focus again, and to hold your focus for a longer time, because you're not actually focused on anything but your routine in that moment. And when something doesn't work my way, I usually turn around, take a step back, like face the fence, away from my opponent, away from everyone, and just, you know, have a moment with myself where I'm like, okay, what am I trying to do? What worked in the past? What is happening right now? Maybe did I use the wrong tactics? Did I change something in my game, or is she just playing better? So yeah, just taking a moment, regrouping, and, you know, focusing on your own routine and your own strength rather than anything else. And being a good doubles partner to yourself, that's something that helped me. Just having that encouraging way of talking to yourself and not being negative, because we all do make mistakes, especially at tennis. I mean, it's a sport where if you'd win every day, you'd win every tournament. So you got to learn how to deal with losses and just learn from it, and just be positive about the progress and about reaching your own goals and dreams. And that's taking one step at a time. So yeah, positive.
That's great. Is there a way that you practice that? I like that statement, be a good doubles partner for yourself, right? And you know, talk yourself up, stay positive on the court. But how do you practice that if you're not necessarily, that's not your best quality on the court?
To be fair, it wasn't my best quality the last
Yeah.
few years, because I haven't been on court, I haven't been competing. There were a lot of setbacks, a lot of injuries after good training weeks. So my mind was not in a good place. And self-awareness helps a lot. So the moment you start using it in your daily routine, and you figure out how you talk to yourself even when you're not on court, like a lot of no's in the sentence, for example, or just how you form a sentence really makes you realize that, oh yeah, it's happening again. I could say it in another way. I could say it in a positive, encouraging way, and not put myself down. So I'd start in a daily routine at home, you know, when you speak to yourself or to your parents or to your friends, family, and then it'll get easier day by day, because once you have that self-awareness, you'll realize when you say something that you know, maybe shouldn't say. And
Yeah.
again, there mistakes happen. Like even during my club matches, there were ups and downs, and not every day was, you know, sunshine and rainbows, but it definitely improved over the weeks.
Definitely. That's cool. Does anybody else have questions? I feel like I've asked a lot of questions and have read a lot, but RJ, do you have any other ones?
Let's see. You know, no, I mean, I think we covered a lot of it.
Cool.
When you were asking questions, I was going to ask what was one of her favorite foods, but we already asked
Oh,
that.
okay. All right. Willie wants to know, oh, this is a good one. Do you like to exercise on the treadmill?
I do.
You
I
do?
prefer running on a treadmill than running outside, surprisingly.
Okay.
Although I like to bike outside and not use the home trainer.
Yeah.
But I feel since my training includes a lot of little intervals, especially also with weights and sidestepping on a treadmill, it's kind of easier to pace it with the different speeds on the treadmill than outside. So for those kind of sessions, I prefer the treadmill for training.
Cool.
Also, I can music, my playlist, and it gets me going, and then I'm just like in the zone, straightforward, 1 hour or however long the session is, and
yeah,
that helps.
Willie, I'm gonna unmute you for a second. Hold on 1 second.
Okay, here I am.
There you
Hi.
go. Willie, do you like working out on the treadmill?
Yeah, I used to get on the treadmill most of the time.
Most of the time.
Okay.
Yes.
You like running outside as well, or only the treadmill?
The treadmill that I like the most.
I'm with you on that one.
Just like especially I don't want to get and slip and fall on it. So I gotta be very, very careful.
You're right. That's true.
Thanks, Willie. All right, we got Kristen's hand up again, so we will go back to Kristen.
Do you like to bike ride?
Oh.
I do. I actually did that quite a bit during the lockdown, because in Austria we were still, in some parts of Austria we're still allowed to go outside to do some kind of sports activities. So I tried to get some fresh air once a day.
I'm doing that too.
Really?
During my lockdown, which I'll like that this year.
Went biking?
Yep.
Nice. How long did you go for bike ride for?
I like 10 miles or 13. The next time I'm on a bike ride, I'll go like 14 or 15.
That's a solid bike ride. Well done.
That'll be my goal.
That's intense. That's great. Good job.
Nice. Way to go, Kristen. And then what do you see yourself doing after you stop playing tennis professionally?
Wow, that's a good one. So I did have some thoughts about that during my injury time, but I figured that the more I think about plan B, the more I stop thinking about plan A, which is getting back on court and competing on tour. But I think I want to give something, I know I want to give something back to the community and the kids, and give something back of all the experience that the sport has given me and has taught me. So yeah, share my knowledge and my years on tour. So in terms of tennis, I help during some kids clinics in my home club, and I definitely want to be a part of tennis in one way or another, if maybe commentary, or not quite sure which direction it's going to head into. But on the other hand, I love fashion. So fashion was always a dream of mine in a way or another. So yeah,
Who's
projects. And I love animals, so a rescue center would be a dream of mine, but let's see.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite fashion designer?
Wow, that's a good one. There's so many great brands, so tough call. One of my favorite brands, I love handbags and shoes, is Yves Saint Laurent.
I love David August.
Yeah?
I love David
So
August.
you do love fashion as well, huh?
Yes.
Great.
David August and Louis Vuitton.
Ooh, I love the new suitcase collection they have.
Yes.
The Dreamova. That's awesome. Such great colors on it. Cool.
So Scott asked, as a follow-up, do you watch Project Runway?
No, I watch a German version, similar version of, it's called Germany's Next Top Model.
Oh.
It actually involves Heidi Klum. It's her own show, and is she on Project Runway? She's on a few shows in the US, so you might know.
You're
not into fashion, Jeff?
Yeah, you can. Yes.
You're like, no. Yeah, so I do watch Germany's Next Top Model. It runs once a year for 2 months, every Thursday evening. So that's our
right.
family program, when, at least the last few years when I was home. Usually I'm not home during that time of the year, but
Yeah. Melissa wanted to know, growing up, who was the tennis player that you looked up to the most?
so I always really looked up to Serena Williams. I just admired her power and yeah, just the way she played on court. It was just amazing. And also Sharapova. I loved her fighting spirit on court. Like, she'd never give up. And one other player that I admire, or two other players, were both from Switzerland. It was Roger Federer and Martina Hingis, which was funny. During her time when she didn't play, she was competing at a horse riding tournament. And next to the home club where I practice at, they have one of those horse stables, and she was actually there. So I ran up to her and I was like, can I please have an autograph? I was like 13 or 14. And a few years later, I met her during the Dubai Duty Free Open, and I was 16, and we were laughing about it. We had some dinner together at the players' party, and I practiced with her. So it was really nice to meet one of my idols and actually spend some time with her.
And so what was it like? You mentioned Serena Williams was a player that you looked up to. What was it like to then play her? Because you've played her before. I think it was the Australian Open, right?
I did, yes. Well, as a kid, I won a trip to Wimbledon from like an Austrian Federation tournament kind of thing. And I remember I took photographs of Serena and Venus playing on center court. So it was absolutely amazing going out there and playing her on, I think we played on Rod Laver Arena, night session. It's, there are actually no words to describe it. She's one of the best players tennis ever had, and great person. So it was a cool atmosphere playing her, and she has this great attitude on court. She's a champion. So it was funny being on the other side of the court. It was a cool experience.
Yeah, that's great. And Rachel showing her all the research that she did about you. She said that she really liked to watch you not give up in the third set against Kerber. I'm not sure.
Oh, wow.
But she really liked that you didn't give up in that third set. So that was pretty cool.
I really like that too. I actually was down a set and a double break in the semifinal the day before against Mario and Bartoli. And I remember I had my coach out there during encore coach, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? Because I felt like I was actually playing quite good, and it was 4-6, 1-4. And I was like, okay, looks like I'm not playing as well as I'm thinking I am. And he was like, just keep doing what you got to do. You're doing the right thing. Just be patient. You'll get your chance. So that's what I did in the finals as well. And it was a nice feeling after saving those 5 match points to hold that trophy in my hands.
That's cool. That's cool.
There we see never giving up does help. We do get rewarded sometimes.
Yeah. Definitely. And Rachel, great research. That's really good that you were looking up those matches. So Tamira, because you brought up on-court coaching, and so many of our coaches here with Special Olympics do on-court coaching, what is a piece of advice you would give to a coach when they're either courtside or coming out on the court to either calm down or pump up the athlete that they're coaching?
Well, since tennis is such an individual sport, I think it depends on each player, what kind of type of personality they got. So for me, it always helped when someone came out there making a little joke and kind of getting me out of that, out of that tense zone which you're in during the whole match, trying to be focused. So I loved when someone made a joke and just talks about something randomly, like where we're going to have dinner at. But that's just me. It got me out of it and then back in the zone so I could regroup. And then obviously we discussed the tactics and what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What do I got to change? So yeah, I think get a feel of what type of personality the player is, what kind of moment the person's in, and then see whether to pump up or to calm down or loosen up or whatever versions they are.
Definitely. So Nanette wanted you to know, thank you so much for doing this. As a Special Olympics coach for tennis, I appreciate your time and making yourself so accessible. So
Aw,
we all
thank you
echo
for
that
having
sentiment.
me.
Definitely.
I'm really having a great time, and I
Cool.
love being.
All right, I have one more question, then we'll throw it back to RJ. Do you keep a lucky charm in your bag, or do you have, what's the weirdest thing that you carry around in your tennis bag from match to match?
So I do carry that one card in my bag where it says I'm allowed to make a mistake every day, which I think sometimes we're too hard on ourselves. And, you know, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, okay, Tamira, you're doing good, you know, just make a mistake, it's human. And on the other hand, I love collecting 4-leaf clovers. I'm actually good at it, to be fair.
Nice.
My mom and me all the time, just like walking by one. I'm like, there's another one. I found one with 7 leaves the other day.
Wow.
So I do carry those around as my lucky charms. And yeah, a little stuffed animal that's hanging on my bag.
Nice.
I see Rachel has a.
Yeah.
Is that your lucky charm?
Yep. That's cool.
That's super cute.
Yeah, Rachel has that with her on court. So RJ, I will toss it back to you unless anybody else has questions.
Awesome. I have 2 questions. I have
Go
2
for it.
First, I want to backtrack a little bit to when you were talking about Serena Williams. You know, as a professional athlete and, you know, growing up, you look up to these athletes, so then you get to play against them. How do you, you know, keep separate your fandom of that athlete and still keep that mental focus that, hey, this is my role model, but I want to beat her?
I think the moment you turn professional, like this whole environment gets kind of normal and you're part of it in any case. So when I played her, I was around 30 in the world in the rankings. So for me, I saw myself as a, you know, as a great tennis player and being out there, being a part of it. So whoever I play, no matter the rankings, I do have a lot of respect for each and every player, but it's not that kind of fandom moment because you're in the zone. You're trying to play the best you can and find a way to win that match. So you do not really think about, wow, she was my role model. Obviously, like when you grew up and you spend the first few years on tour, that was kind of a new feeling, but you get used to it.
And second, if you could be a professional athlete in any other sport, what sport would it be?
That's a good one. I think, wow, that's an amazing question. No one's ever asked me that. I think I'd pick the opposite and I'll choose a team sports just because tennis is a single sport and you're always alone doing everything. So what am I gonna choose? Help me there, please. Definitely not swimming. I'm not good at that. So it's got to be some kind of ball sports.
You know, if I was a professional athlete, I would love to be a boxer, but, you know, the long-term health effects are not that great. So I'd pick I'd pick golfing because, I mean, you can play golf, you know, well into your 70s.
Imagine. Yeah, well, golf is a nice sport. As I said, I play sometimes on the driving range, but I wouldn't be, if I wasn't a tennis player, I don't think I'd be a golfer. I think it's got to be something with more action.
Like basketball, maybe?
I'm not tall enough for that. Unfortunately, I'm too short for basketball. I wouldn't be a help for any team member. So yeah, I think I'd do something without sports. 'Cause
Awesome.
I cannot find something that, yeah, that comes spontaneously to my mind.
Well,
You got me there. That question was too good.
well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join me and my fellow Special Olympic athletes. We greatly appreciate it. I know the time zones are different, so thank you so much. We had a lot of fun today.
Thank you, RJ. It was such a pleasure to being a part of it and to speak to you all. You're amazing. And as I told Jeff before, anytime I'd be happily back on here and have another Zoom chat. I loved it.
Thank you so much.
Cool. All right. Great job, RJ. Thanks for being our lead interviewer. And Tamira, again, thank you for your generosity of time and thought to help our athletes get better on and off the court. Athletes, as we typically do, I will unmute everybody's line right now so that we can say goodbye and thank you to Tamira. All right, everybody is getting unmuted.
Thank you, Ms. Mira.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ms. Mira.
Bye. Bye. I loved it.
Come to Texas sometime.
And come see my brother. And
Texas is on my to-do list.
and my niece, Caitlin Marie Roush.
Okay.
I'll see you at the Wimbledon one day.
Good luck to all of you. Yes, that's our deal.
Yes.
Good luck to everyone, and I'll keep my fingers crossed for you all, and hope
Awesome.
to see you someday soon, and maybe in Washington.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
We'll look forward to it. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. We will keep you posted when we have another one of these, but thanks again for joining, taking some time out of your day, Tamira. Can't thank you enough for your Special Olympics, and to Anne for organizing this. WTA is awesome. We appreciate their partnership. So everybody, have a good rest of the day.
Good luck as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.